Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to a look at 3 recent stories from the world of Formula 1 that have caught my eye. Kicking us off then, Red Bull have said that they could leave Formula 1 if they are not happy with the sport's plans post-2020 and could switch focus to Le Mans using the Aston Martin Valkyrie instead. Now 2019 sees Red Bull switch to Honda power and the noises coming from within the team have been massively positive and they hope to be serious challengers to Ferrari and Mercedes as early as next season. However, with the rules in F1 set to change for 2021 and no Concord agreement yet signed, Helmut Marko has made it clear that there are other options on the table if the Austrian outfit are not happy with the sport's future direction. We have an agreement until 2020. As long as there is no engine regulation and no Concord agreement, neither Red Bull nor Honda will make a decision. However, we will certainly not become dependent again as we have been in the past when we were begging others and statements and promises were not kept. Stop is the option or do something else. With the Valkyrie, Le Mans could be an option with the hypercar rules. We went through with it and it's a sensational success. The cars were all sold out immediately. That's another good pillar for Red Bull Technologies. If there was a cost cap in Formula 1, we would have to cut people. We don't necessarily want that. We could then use them in such projects. It still looks like you can run in the WEC at a reasonable cost with the base of our Valkyrie. Although Red Bull has never been to the 24-hour, that's something we are thinking about. So, Red Bull have issued yet another quit threat to F1 bosses, but they aren't alone. Mercedes, Renault and Ferrari have all raised their concerns previously, but those fears did appear to be alleviated to a point when the 2021 power unit regulations were watered down from a reset to what appears to be a tweak. Or perhaps I should say a compromise in a bid to keep hold of the only 4 manufacturers the sport currently has. But will Red Bull actually leave, or is this all just more hot air? Look, they could, of course they absolutely could, but I will be very surprised if they went through with it. As I've said about Ferrari in the past, Formula 1 is still a very lucrative place for these teams to be, and although Red Bull walking away will be a huge loss to F1, it would also be a huge loss to Red Bull. Also, let's not forget, this isn't exactly the first time they've issued one of these threats. We had all of this just a few seasons ago when they wanted out of their deal with Renault and were trying to land an engine supply from elsewhere, so I'm not convinced by it all, and I seriously doubt many are. What I do find quite interesting though, is that they've gone from we will challenge to we're off if it doesn't work out, or if we don't get what we want. So, and perhaps yes, yet again I'm reading way too much into this, but have they seen something as they prepare for 2019 that has concerned them about Honda? Power or reliability, for example, something to make them realise they might need to adjust their targets to something a little bit more realistic. I mean, ultimately, it's all just posturing. Marko just laying out his stall as these negotiations for 2021 reach their critical and I would assume final stage. And okay, it could even be the case that he is putting the feelers out early just in case Honda don't deliver on the expectations that have been ramped up over the last few months. But honestly, I don't see Red Bull going anywhere. And as I said a moment ago, it just all feels a little bit like a lot of hot air. But it's definitely something to get us talking during the winter. Next up, and Toto Wolff has said that Valtteri Bottas will need to justify his place at Mercedes, as is the case with every other driver on the grid, of course. Bottas had a very difficult 2018 season, and that's despite a very promising start to the year, which, had luck gone for him rather than against him, could well have seen him win 2 of the opening 4 races. He finished 5th in the Drivers' Championship and failed to win a single race, and many believe he is already under massive pressure for 2019. But before I get to my views on that, here is what the Mercedes boss had to say. Every racing driver in a Formula 1 car has to look over his shoulder. It is a very brutal sport where only the best ones survive, and they are very well aware. They have made the selection of the top 20 racing drivers in the world, and every single year they have to justify that they deserve the place. It is not only valid for Valtteri, but also the others as well. Valtteri is a fierce warrior and he wouldn't be where he is today if he was not an outstanding racing driver. I think he absolutely embraces the challenge of being teammate and competitor to Lewis Hamilton. I think where things have gone wrong with Valtteri in 2018 was that he was very unlucky. He could have, should have, but that doesn't count, won 3 races. So is Valtteri Bottas already under huge pressure for 2019? Well, frankly, yes. Toto Wolff has already spent much of the last few months bigging up Esteban Ocon's chances of a seat in 2020 and has even gone as far as to say that the Frenchman will be in a good car. In fact, there are many who believe that Valtteri's fate has already been decided, and I can completely understand why people are taking that stance. But I'm not convinced a final call has been made just yet. But if he does not deliver in 2019, he will be ditched at the end of the season, no doubt. Bottas has got to be much closer to teammate Lewis Hamilton if he wants any chance of saving his Mercedes career, but in all honesty, I get the feeling that that in itself may not be enough. I feel like he needs to be a title challenger to keep hold of that seat, not necessarily win it, but he has to show that the potential is there for him to win it. So being in the fight until towards the end of the season will be absolutely crucial. And of course, with Ocon still being a part of that team, the Silver Arrows can wait until the end of 2019 before making any call on their lineup. One thing I do want to clear up though is that Bottas is a very good driver. He showed that at Williams during his first year at Mercedes as well, and at the start of this season. But he has got to take that clear talent and that clear ability and string together a full, strong season. Basically, he's got to be on it from FP1 in Australia, otherwise that pressure is only going to build. Last up today, and it was a thoroughly miserable 2018 for Williams as they picked up just 7 points from 21 races and ended the year rock bottom of the Constructors' standings. And this week, Claire Williams has said that the team's 2018 car was so flawed that not even tripling the budget would have been enough to turn it around. I think the problems were related to the global car. We've had issues front to back. So to try and make changes to bring performance to a car that was like that was always going to be difficult. We tried and we tried hard. I suppose it was just the flaws were too fundamental to rectify halfway through a season. I think even regardless of the amount of budget we could have thrown at it, we threw a lot of budget at it, even if we had tripled it, I'm not convinced we would have changed its course. You don't go from P5 to P10 without quite a few things that have gone wrong in your organisation, and we are in the slow process of resolving all of those issues. We have 650 people in our team, but I think we are still resource limited when it comes to people to fix the mass of problems that we have. We can't tackle everything all in one go. So we therefore have to temper those expectations as to what we can achieve in 2019 based on the resources we have to fix everything. I mean, what can you say about Williams in 2018 other than the fact that it was an absolute disaster? I seem to remember that there was a fair bit of optimism after the arrival of Paddy Lowe, but it was pretty obvious to everybody from their pre-season testing that they were in real trouble, and it never really picked up from there. Some would point the finger at the inexperience of Sirotkin and Stroll, the fact that there wasn't a Felipe Massa, for example, for the team to be able to lean on and take experienced feedback from. And that's something that I completely get, but I am not going to lay the blame at their door at all. Both Stroll and Sirotkin did the absolute best they could in that car, and they were let down massively by the team. That is it at the end of the day. What I will say though is that with the team pretty much writing off 2018 very early, that has given them a hell of a lot of extra time to focus on 2019, and if Paddy Lowe is given the resources he needs, Williams could well have a much better year. I mean, quite frankly, it couldn't exactly be any worse. And no, I'm not talking about best of the rest or anything like that. But if they can be closer to the pack, maybe in that midfield fight, I think that would be a very good step for a team that were cut a long way adrift in 2018. That is it then for this rundown, and in the comments section down below, don't forget you can let me know your thoughts on any of the stories featured in today's video. Now, I will be back soon with another video, and just a heads up, there will be no live stream this Sunday, but the next one will be on Sunday, January 6th at 6 PM UK time. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for your support over the last 12 months and to wish you all a very happy new year. Don't forget you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.